Welcome to BizDev Live with Cameron Toth, BizD with the C. We have Jacqueline Vazquez from Lifetime Events with Jacqueline today. I'm so excited to bring her to you, talk about her advocacy for the live events industry, talking about her career in luxury lifestyle events. Excited to get into it. Going to jump into the theme and be right back with you.
BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T.
Oh, sorry. Several people have told me about the amazing Jacqueline Vazquez. So in the time running up, and actually years running up to actually us connecting, I was told over and over again, you were somebody that I needed to reach out to and connect with, and I had to wait till the pandemic for us to actually get connected. But Jacqueline is an award-winning event producer. Just one award after another. Just to list some of the organizations that you've been a part of: longevity, wedding event planning instructor, Girls Inc. of Westchester, ABC New York local networking leader, ABC New York state manager, ABC director of outreach, Girls Inc. of Westchester, Wise Women Council, New York, New Jersey Live Events Coalition, which is going on right now with your advocacy awards. 2017 Celebrating Diversity and Business Champion Award, 2015 ISIS, which is now Leah, right? NYC Big Apple Awards nominee, Hot Stuff Award, winner Best Nonprofit Event 2013. I hear about you all the time. You have several certifications, and an international event and wedding, just inspiration. Thank you for being on the show with me.
Well, wow. Let me catch my breath. The list is going on, but thank you so much, Cameron, for inviting me here today.
No, it's awesome having you on. So talk to me a little bit about what you got going on right now. I know weddings are a little bit fewer and far between, but I'd love to hear about, some of the stuff that you were doing right up to before we got into this crazy situation of international pandemic, and what you're doing on the advocacy side today.
Wow, it feels like it was just yesterday that I was getting ready to pack my bags and head off to the first destination wedding for the year, followed by coming back and quickly going to my second one. But instead, with everything going on, instead of packing bags, it was just contacting the industry pros in Mexico for that first wedding, and then also in Puerto Rico for the second wedding, postponing everything, getting everything checked off to reschedule either for later this year or for next year. So that's where I was, and that's how the start to my pandemic story starts. And right now, in the midst of that, I got a call from an amazing colleague, and she says, I think that this coalition and the advocacy might be something that you can align with. I spoke to the board members, and I was just set. I'm someone who is all about education, the industry and the basics of the industry, the importance of having, the knowledge And advocacy just felt like the next best thing. And now with everything going on, not really knowing and finding out at that moment that we really didn't have a huge representation, that to me took me a step back. I said, I have to be a part of this. So the New York and New Jersey Live Events Coalition, they've been, we've been really working on a lot of different things, you know, bringing knowledge in reference to advocacy that we don't have. And we're here for the long run. It's not a, it's not just for right now. It's not until the pandemic is over. We're here for the long run because we know that there is no link between the event industry and government. And we expect this to be a huge transformation for the industry. We're a part of the national board alongside with other states and regions that are also advocating on behalf of the entire event industry. And when I say entire, it's just that, you know, it's not just planners, it's not just, you know, photographers, is the entire event industry from social to corporate to theater, festivals, everything. Anything that is an event, production, that's what we're advocating for.
That's amazing. I just put it into the Facebook and YouTube channel chats as well, and have it up on the screen. So New York, New Jersey Events Coalition. Do you want to talk about real briefly, and we'll talk about it at the end, but hopefully, you know, folks that are watching and tuning in will understand that there's some things that they can take part in. So I know you were telling me about this Friday in particular, July 31st, there's an event going on in Times Square that people can sign up for and sign a petition with. Yes?
Yes. So basically, hold on one second.
Yeah, no worries.
So sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. So basically, yes, we have an activation going on. For those who haven't been following the New York, New Jersey Live Events Coalition, if you want to put in my email address here, they can email me and I can send them the information. Or they can go onto the website there. It should be on the website. This was just sent out, so I didn't get a chance to check. It's an activation where we're asking for volunteers and to set up the location, and it's going to be in Times Square. And we're going to.
It popped up right when I loaded in the website. It's not popping it now because I got rid of it, so you can see the.
Yeah, so when it pops up, exactly. And if not, you know, Jacqueline at lebjv.com, I will more than likely, you know, gladly send that information out to everyone. But the activation is supposed to represent no events happening. So we're setting up chairs and tables, and it's supposed to be kind of like an installation piece. And it's going to be kind of like an empty scene, empty chairs, stage, etc. So we do need volunteers for setup. We do need people to attend, and there's going to be a certain area that will have people holding signs or whatnot.
Do you know what time? You know what time this is?
Yes. So the activation piece itself is between 10 and 11, but we're asking people, if you're going to volunteer, we're actually starting at midnight for setup and load in. And if you're just going to attend, and of course, we're taking all safety precautions, safety protocols, masks, gloves, everything. So please bring your PPEs. So with that said, 8:30, if you're just going to attend, 8:30 a.m. is the time that more or less we're going to be having people there. The important thing is that we need to have people register and let us know whether they're going to volunteer or attend, and that's what the form is for.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think I'll try to rearrange my schedule here and get permission from my better half.
The things that we have, oh my gosh, it's a big thing. So it's a big deal. And, you know, we're going to have media there and everything like that. It's just a point in time for us to reflect and show what the event industry is suffering. and what is it that we need financially as well.
That's
All of
awesome.
those points.
So we'll come back to this right before we finish, right around 11:45. When am I got to jump off for another MPI meeting today? Talk to me about your personal background and history. Why did you get into the wedding industry? What kind of drove you, and what is? I mean, you've been very successful, obviously, and you're such an inspiration in the industry. So I'm sort of wondering if that doesn't happen without the work involved. So what's kind of driven you and created that passion and drive?
Well, I've always had this drive of just serving others, being there for others, making others smile, and reflecting that, life is too short. So I've always had that spirit within me. I'm a Bronx girl, born and raised, and just the part of starting out, I was an accountant first for many years, and it's something that I knew was not my passion, but it's something that I use as resources. Everything that I've learned, everything from details to, finding those little pieces of information that is needed to produce an efficient report or whatever it is, that I have all of those qualities that I use for my current business. How that started, basically, as I worked in the corporate world, I was a part of events, holiday parties, corporate events. And it just came up. It's like, oh, Jackie knows how to do that. And then family and friends. Then I was recommended by family and friends to other people. And the passion just started growing. And here I am. It's been 20 years in the industry already, and I keep loving every single thing that I do. I love my clients. I love my team, but I also love the industry. The industry is so rewarding. Yes, it's a lot of work, a lot of work, but it's so rewarding if your heart is set to it. And I'm here also to inspire as a planner, a producer. I'm here to inspire others. That's why I started teaching and speaking. I speak internationally. My first international speaking engagement was in China. So I've just been on a roll. You asked me to speak and share, and I'm there. And it's led me to this point now, just continual mentoring, and now a new author.
That's amazing. Congratulations. So show us the new book. You just showed it to me before. That's awesome. A lead event planner.
Yeah.
So how can folks get a copy of that?
It's on Amazon, and they just
Very
have to type in The Creative Life of an Elite Event Planner, Jacqueline Vazquez.
That's awesome.
Yes. Or they can visit my website at classyandinspiring.com.
Creative event planner. It does not surprise me with your success when you said, and this is from somebody that spent the last 9 years in the event industry around staffing. It does not surprise me with your success that you said you started out as an accountant, because I think, I'm definitely a creative person. I enjoy events, on site, when I'm there working with a caterer, event planner, client. Things are moving. 300-person wedding, 40 plus staff. I'm cool, calm, and I can direct, traffic in a fire. I can make that happen. But get me back on the desk and ask me to file a financial form, and I am just not the guy that you want in charge of doing the financial form. So, it's one of the places where I've struggled most. So, with, the fact that you've done well, and you're obviously creative, obviously have style. But I think one of those key things, if you're going to be in the events industry, is understanding the numbers. So it does not surprise me at all that's part of your background, because I know I wish it was part of my background. Talk to me about in terms of some of the events you're doing, and for folks that are watching, as you were getting started as an event planner, because I can imagine we have a range of folks that'll tune into this. What were some of the fun things and some of the struggles as you were getting into the wedding business, and how you developed your wedding business?
Well, I think, and I think many people, planners, might have this piece that, the fun thing can be, oh, just creating this amazing event that looks beautiful, right? And yes, that's the fun piece. But also for me, the fun piece was just to see the client satisfied. Whether it was going to be an elaborate setup or something very simple. When I started, it was just more about, to me, the client and what their vision was, and taking that vision and really planning it out and creating it. I'm a logistics buff. So for me, planning and production, that's my key things. And again, that's stemming from being an accountant, all the details and logistics. And with regards to design, I did, I think, everything when I first started. And I think a few of us did a lot of everything. And now, years later, logistics, planning, that's my key thing. I started doing every single type of event. Right now, 80% of my events are weddings, in addition to destination weddings as well. That's a growing piece to that. I have a client that I do their conventions throughout the United States. For right now, 3 years ago it was 600, and this year was 3,000, and 2021 was supposed to be 5,000 within a 3-day span. So, I still do other social events as well, holiday parties, etc. I have a good handful of clients that are ongoing. So, that keeps me going. My clients trust, having that passion, and also patience. That is so important to have. Such a trait that,
Especially right now, right?
especially right now. And I think that's one of my traits that has kept me so positive. Yes,
That's
it's
awesome.
not a perfect day
But
every day, but that's what
yeah,
keeps me.
2020 was supposed to be huge for weddings. What are some of your clients doing with their 2020 wedding?
A lot of my clients have postponed to next year. Two of my clients, even though they postponed, they had a mini Moni.
Mhm.
And, the same that we've been hearing. I haven't had too many Zoom weddings. One broadcasted it on Zoom, but it was very simple, nothing big. So, yeah, and but the majority, everybody has switched to 2021.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Are you seeing a particular um, date that people are looking at in 2021, or just?
Um, just with my weddings, a few of my weddings, since, for instance, one that had a mini Moni on June 30th, they wanted to have their wedding around that time frame to kind of celebrate the year,
Yeah,
right? And the other one as well. So they chose those particular dates. So
yeah,
right now, all I
makes
have.
sense, since I would imagine, even if the earliest reports of when we'll have a vaccine readily available are January and beyond, which means things probably won't be clear until 6 to 8 months into the year. So you're looking at that timeline.
Yeah.
It's interesting in reading the articles, but I think everybody's, that patient thing has got to be super key for everybody right now. Just understand that it's going to take some time for things to come back to normal. Hopefully the government, with some help of some good advocacy, will continue to provide help and assistance to industry. I know I'm benefiting from PPP loan right now that's sort of keeping us going. I think those kind of things, uh, you know, if you are not good with the financial forms, find somebody who is, which is where I live on that spectrum. And so you got to get it done and take advantage of the pieces for your business right now to keep things
Exactly.
afloat and surviving. Um, in addition to the advocacy, um, I know that I've seen some good stuff on social media from you. Are you, taking this time to like ramp up the channels and that sort of thing?
So quite a few years ago, I can't remember how long, I had read and chatted with Simon T. Bailey on one of his books called Shifting Your Brilliance. And that's something that I've been honing in on, during this time frame, is just taking whatever qualities and specialties that I know, honing in on those and shifting it to apply them to other things. So of course for me is the production of the book, and I also have a mentoring program that I'm expanding, and also a course that's going to be as a result of the book as well. So it's just shifting the brilliance, shifting it to be productive, advocating, and so much more. Just reapplying all of your skills to something else, and not just staying stagnant. Just keep it going.
Yeah, I'm working on getting the website with the book up as well. And you said you've worked with Simon T. Bailey on a few different things, right?
Well, I just had, he had a few for the shifting the brilliance. There was a session that he was doing around that time frame. So I was able to take advantage of that, which is why I feel that shifting the brilliance is a good piece that I was able to hone in during this time, especially.
Yeah, I love that, shifting the brilliance. So, how have you seen some of the folks in the industry shifting, using their talents and bringing it over to something else? I know, I mean, for myself, I've had to shift, pivot, whatever you want to call it. We started up BizDev Live to take advantage of dreams that I've had, in the past. So I know that there are people that you're in your networks that are doing amazing things. I think this advocacy project, the installation that's going on in Times Square is a great example of that.
Yes, and I've seen, like you said, yourself and Annette. She's also doing something really great. Annette Naif. I hope I said her last name right. And also with regards to, there are a lot of people that have shifted and done things virtually, and as well as taking their expertise and moving on to something that they're using their brilliance in, whether it's speaking or mentoring, or doing courses or things like that as well.
I love it. We got the book here.
And there's two different, you can get the book on Amazon, or if you want one of the t-shirts, if you scroll down, there's a Be Inspired to Believe and Proceed.
I like
Because
that.
sometimes you have to, yes, you can achieve, but you got to proceed in order to get that goal, that success.
And what the creative life of an
And
slashed out accountant, a late event planner.
you
What?
like that, huh?
Yeah, I like that. What can people expect to find in the book from you?
So it's mostly geared for, I have all the resources to create a one-on-one how to become an event planner. But there's so many other resources and platforms and educational tools that I figured, where do I best utilize and shift, right? My brilliance. And so I figured a second piece, a second part to, once you take a course or some understanding of how you can become an event planner, this piece is kind of like the mindset. So, what is the mindset of an elite event planner to make it to in the long run? What is the mindset and tips that I share that can make you better? And yes, it's for planners, but it's also a good tool for other event professionals, because it talks about mindsets, and it's the industry, and we all share similar mindsets.
What are
And
some ideas that you have around collaborating right now in that framework of creating yourself as, becoming more elite and having a better understanding of the business?
for me, it has been about being a part of organizations, associations, networking. And when I say, for me, when I say networking is beyond the hi and goodbye, it's more about building that relationships. That's why you can't find me, because I'm chatting a lot, in depth type of thing. And also, like, I also belong to an organization which is an international organization of event planners called Believe Wedding Creators. And I have been exposed to so much greatness from planners in Portugal to Italy to Mexico to Europe. I mean, it's just immense. That, to me, that has taken me to a different level, and expanded my international reaches in reference to destinations, not just speaking, but also events. So I have a collaboration that I feel I have the world in my hands because of those connections and collaborations.
What's the name of that organization? Because I think this is the first time I'm hearing of that organization, which is awesome.
It's Believe Wedding Creators, and they just
Okay.
celebrated 5 years. It originated from an event planner. She was from Brazil. She was in New York for a while, and she's now in Italy. So, but it's an amazing organization that has planners from all over the world. Dubai, Italy, I mentioned, Asia, Africa. I
And are
mean,
you normally traveling to destinations to meet up for
yes,
events?
yes. So we're supposed to go to Portugal this year. Last year we were in Panama. The year before we were in Italy, and the first retreat before that was in Mexico. So yes, we're supposed to go all different areas. We're supposed to go to Portugal this year. So I'm not sure how that's gonna go, but
Well, it's definitely something to look forward to once the world goes back to.
oh yes, so looking forward to it.
Talk to me about reflection. I know we've talked about this before jumping on the call, and some of the takeaways that we wanted to give people. How do you think people should be reflecting and sort of using this time to create that inspiration and direction that will help folks get to the next place they need to be?
Was quite interesting that before the pandemic hit, there was, I think around January or February, there was a podcast that I was on, and the whole topic was about the balancing act between work and life and family, right? And how do you keep it going when life happens? And that's the word that I use, life happens, instead of everything else. And so for me, reflection is so important in reference to taking a step back, taking a look at what you have accomplished, what your goals are. And if you don't have goals written out, write them out and really reflect as to, do you want to continue in the same pattern with your business? Do you need to shift something around? Do you need to take care of certain things within your business to allow you to have more family time based on the specific platform that you are? Because you can start off your business maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but the life that you're leading right now is totally different than that
Yeah.
time frame. Family, maybe you have kids, maybe you're taking care of somebody. And so you have to reflect on all those pieces, because at the end of the day, you have to stay healthy. You have to stay in tune with yourself. And you don't want any of that to really diminish the quality of professionalism that you offer your clients. So reflection is key, especially in this time frame that we have. If you have the time right now, utilize it.
Yeah, I love that. And I sort of a realization that I just had the other day. I was talking to somebody and I was sort of looking outside myself for inspiration, guidance, partnership, help. And, I'm having this conversation with somebody I'm thinking can help me pull something together. And as we're talking, and I'm realizing, you know what, I got this. Like, this person really wasn't being super helpful, and that's neither here nor there. But I think it just was the realization in the moment while I was having that conversation that there was a lot of stuff within me that I was able to do. And I was sitting there, and it was very helpful for me to be on this phone call having this conversation, because I was showing all of these things that I wanted to do and explaining. And then as I'm doing that, I'm like, oh, I'm explaining all these things, and I know this information. Why don't I just do it? And I think that kind of reflection, however it happens, however you need to do to make the epiphany go off. And I think, having lots of conversations right now, we're able to be on Zoom and maybe meeting with people in ways and a frequency that would be hard to do in person. So taking advantage of the moment and doing those kind of things that can spark reflection as well.
And also reflecting on, the best qualities that you have. That's an important piece, because we look at, there's so much going on outside. There's so many people that do similar things that we do. So what's identifying who you are, and what you do should identify that. Like, people who know me know that I'm all about education. I'm all about, inspiration. And so that's my purpose, and that's my walk. So, really honing in on who you are and what's your unique value. And this is a little tidbit that's in the book. So what is your unique value?
Yeah, I love that. And I think that it's something that people don't necessarily realize. And I'd certainly try to get it out in my message, especially when you get into this idea of like people competing. We're in the events industry. I've worked with event planners, worked alongside planners. I've planned certain events, but I don't consider myself competition. I'm a collaborator. I'm somebody that, can take a load off, so to speak. I can help facilitate. And I've seen caterers do really well when they don't look at other caterers as their competition. In fact, they look at them indeed as collaborators. I've seen caterers where they're like ghost catering, for sort of a weird way to put it, but just like somebody else would write, and there's this name on the book, but you can't do everything and be all things, and it's helpful to collaborate, and it only adds money into your pocket if you're willing to work with people and do things. And then on that same line, the fact that you can do something that is special and unique, and there's only one you, right? I mean, no matter how much you're an accountant, there's a reason I'm going to work with this accountant, because there are Jacqueline, or they're John, or they're Jerry, whatever their unique trait is. There is a difference, and that is going to be very appealing to people, and understanding that and putting that out in your message is one of the things that I'm talking to people about with social media. Is like, don't be afraid. You're unique, and people will be drawn to that. Just be you. I love that message.
Exactly.
Talking about the shift and applying that knowledge, we're kind of on that theme, and going to the book. Right now, where do you see the future of this industry? Like, where do you see the money going? Where do you see the fun going? What are your ideas for what we'll be seeing in the future?
Well, I'm a very hopeful person, so I do see us still continuing. Whether some businesses will continue or not, I feel that my response to that is, you're the owner of your own universe. So if you have the fight and the passion to continue, don't let it go. So I feel that very hopeful that we will resume, very hopeful that
Oh, I guarantee you live events are coming back. People are ready.
Yeah,
Like people
people are
are so
ready. Even event professionals are ready to have a party. I know the last party I went to in the industry was the one at Gotham Hall for sophisticated weddings. And I had chatted with a few people. Oh, yes, I was in that one. Yes, that was my last one. But yeah, everyone is ready to party, whether they're having a small event in the backyard or within safety parameters, based on their state. That's all fine, but it feels reserved. So when the ribbon is cut and we're ready to roll, everyone's just prepared and ready. It's just, are you ready? Are you
let me
prepared?
ask you a question because we're doing so much technology and we're getting into the hybrid events. I know you were talking about the the mini monies, right? Um, are you noticing? I'm assuming there's a higher demand in the luxury space for virtual aspects to weddings, and then with the social media, working with high end uh, film producers, videographers, photographers. What are you noticing that's something that maybe the vendors should be sort of keeping an eye on and and sorry to throw a sports sort of analogy or theme at you, but skating to where the puck will be, sort of thing, for technology, especially as it relates to high end weddings.
For the future or at the moment?
Well, I'd say for the future. I mean, I know that right now, if people are wanting to get together, I mean, people aren't traveling because they're afraid,
Yeah.
that their borders will be shut down. So many reasons. I'm talking even with my staff that I have somebody that has a long distance beau, right? So she's like, well, we were trying to figure it out. I was trying to travel to Europe. That seemed like a no go. We were trying to get it so we would meet up in Canada, and then they closed the borders in Canada. So like, there's just real stuff, and unfortunately, even if you're in that higher monetary thing, when it's government stuff and borders being shut down, there's not much you can do to get around it.
Well, I can actually say, so my client who I have for conventions, um, even though it's next February, in June, he had mentioned to me, and it's supposed to be in Florida. So he mentioned before Florida, went to the apex of, their stats. He was like, I'm having my event no matter what. And I'm like, okay, but just know we have to work
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that a couple times as we're
now.
going into it, and then they, yeah.
Well, now, everything's shut down, everything's quarantined, everything. So now it's a different story. So say that because what I would say to whether it's a high end or, whatever type of event, it's the client's perspective, right? So we can let the client know what the options are, the suggestions, but at the end of the day is their perspective, whether they want to continue something or say, what, this would be a great idea to bring in the virtual or the videos or everything else. In having conversation with some of my clients, they would rather not have it, and some are okay with it. So it's just a conversation piece for each client, whether they're spending a big load of money or a moderate type budget. It all goes back to the client and what they're
Yeah, I know one of the big things is privacy, right? So you get to a certain economic level, and they don't want anything publicized. They don't want anything out there that could be consumed in ways that they would not find appealing. So it's an interesting conversation, depending on who that client is. So I totally understand that because I've definitely seen it both ways where, you have almost your social media star kind of level of, hey, I just want everything completely out there. We want it all over the place. We want
flying
professional.
drones, everything.
And then you have other folks that are like, they have scheduled the event with a caterer with a different name, so you don't even know who the actual client is.
Exactly. Yep. and I've
Yeah.
had that happen. So yeah.
What are there any other kind of pieces or components that you're sort of seeing trending right now that you're keeping an eye on?
Um, Really, I don't think there's a such a thing as the word trend right now. It's like so many people are saying, I feel, away from that word, because it's either you're having events outdoors and how you're making that. So I guess that's one of the trends that's going on, like how you make a safe event happen outdoors within the protocols, the safety protocols. And that's something to really keep in mind. Some people decide to just go against the grain and do what they think is right without taking those precautions. And really think about it, especially if you want to remain in this industry. But also, safety is first, no matter what.
Yeah,
Before
I would say that's probably the biggest trend I'm noticing is safety. So
safety.
we did a 35th birthday party, about 30 guests, and we had the thermometer. So we checking everybody as they're coming in the door, a little squeeze of sanitizing liquid. Everyone had their own individual stylized plastic thermoses with the wine cup inside, everything clear, and doing that sort of thing. So that was a very interesting thing that was set up by a client that we helped facilitate. So that safety trend, I think, is definitely
Yeah, I
there.
think that's I think overcome any trends. It's like, I'm here to
I think
stay.
I think it's going to be very interesting as we get into the cooler weather. People are going to want to do the outdoor events. I'd say take advantage if are thinking of doing an event. Take advantage of the weather right now. The fact that you don't need to do enclosed heated tenting because the days. The fall is coming. As if you're a Game of Thrones fan, winter is coming. That sort of thing. Because then it's going to be really big tents or not at all, especially if you're trying to get a big group together and heating, the costs are going to go up. So it's going to be very interesting because that's usually the biggest time or biggest event season for me personally in Westchester is the fall. And I think for the
Oh, yes.
city is pretty similar in NYC. We do a lot of events in NYC, but I notice it a lot more up here because we're doing so much more tented stuff in the fall. But with things being the way they are and people needing to social distance, it's going to be a lot less real estate that people can utilize inside of a tent, which is going to be very interesting.
And I'm
Uh,
sure many people are also looking more towards the upstate Rockland County areas because there's more open space than in the city. So that's
yeah,
another.
yeah. It's surprising to me though because you go into the city and while like the official events, so if we're doing something with corporate and and for good reason, right? Liability, all those pieces to it. It's it's controlled, but then you go out onto like Ninth Avenue and you see the bars and they're overcrowded with people. So it's an interesting dynamic.
Yes.
Jacqueline, I want to wrap this up with making sure people know how to get in touch with you. So I'll throw. Is it okay for me to put your LinkedIn out there for folks?
Sure.
All right, so let me do that, and then if you want to just I'll go ahead and do that while I'll give you a chance to sort of talk about the advocacy you're doing one more time and how folks can get involved with that this Friday.
Yeah, so please visit the website at NYNJ events. Now I can't even remember
It's
you had it up.
I have it up.
Yes.
There we go.
Events
NYNJ
Coalition.
Events Coalition.
I have so many links in my head right now. It's incredible. Just visit the website and basically, the form should be on there. If not, email me at Jacqueline at lebjv.com or send me a message on LinkedIn and I'll send you the information. We're looking for volunteers for this Friday. We're hoping to start setup at 12 in the morning and be ready by 6:30 a.m. Also looking for volunteers for after so that we can get everything cleared and out of the way. It's going to be in Times Square, and it's going to be amazing.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for doing this with me today, Jack. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much,
Thank you for
Jacqueline.
the invite. I'm glad that we were able to connect.
I'm excited. So we'll definitely follow up. I'm looking forward to picking up the book. I hope everyone that's watching does as well. Thank you so much, everybody. See you tomorrow. Thanks, Jacqueline.
Thank you.